welcome back. While it's estimated that 290 Australian babies are born with Down syndrome every year, there is still no national data collection in place to prove this figure, causing a widespread lack of understanding around the disability.
But a new institute in New South Wales will soon address that lack of awareness, and we're joined now by the CEO of Down Syndrome New South Wales, Emily Kasker, along with 18-year-old Bridie Loudon and Lizzie Smith and her very loud baby Mary, who is having a good time, but there might be some teeth coming through.
Yes.
Emily, I'm going to start with you first. So what are the biggest, misconceptions here about Down syndrome and people and families that live with it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us. So I think some of the misconceptions or things that people might not know about Down syndrome is that the life expectancy now is 60 years of age, which is absolutely incredible. When I was born in the early 80s, it was 25 years of age. And also I think another misconception is that Down syndrome is just an intellectual disability. Now, Down syndrome, by virtue of the triplication of the 21st chromosome, is the leading cause of intellectual disability in Australia. But it also has other biophysical markers, such as their gorgeous almond-shaped eyes, single crease in the hand, amazing hypertonia, which is hyperflexibility. And also, I think there is, as you said, this misconception about that we know a lot about Down syndrome, because I think in a community perspective, Down syndrome is very well known, but actually behind the scenes, as you said in the intro, we don't know how many people in Australia actually have Down syndrome. And so therefore, if we don't have that foundational knowledge, how can we then provide the best services and supports? And also in Australia, we also don't have specialised medical care and a research entity, hence the institute.
That's staggering, actually, that we don't have that data in place, and we'll get to the institute in a moment, but I would love to talk to you, Lizzie, about your experience with beautiful Mary, your experience with diagnosis, but also what your understanding was of Down syndrome prior to her being born.
So we didn't know much prior to her being born. We had the 12-week ultrasound and then had the phone call to say there was a 1 in 4 chance that she could possibly be Down syndrome. From that, it didn't bother us at all. You know, we were happy with whatever we were blessed with. You know, we had a bit of a rough pregnancy with most medical staff pushing for termination.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really hard, right up till nearly 30 weeks. Every visit, coming home crying and
sorry, but sorry to interrupt, but can we ask about your resolve then to be like, no, this is my child, I'm going to have this child, Down syndrome or not, this is my baby.
Exactly. So we didn't do any further testing because we didn't want to risk a miscarriage. It didn't matter to us either way. And yeah, it was just really hard to get them to acknowledge that it was our son or daughter while we were pregnant. But yeah, once we had her, we've been very lucky to not have any really medical complications.
Beautiful, but I just want to touch on that story with you, Emily. I mean, is that something that we're seeing a lot? Can that attitude change? Because it feels very regressive for, you know, our health providers and people who should be taking care of mothers, expected parents.
Life expectancy extending now into the 60s.
And we're going to speak to Bridie in a minute, and have a wonderful life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we know in Australia that the termination rate sits at about 90%. So we are one of the leading countries in the world around that. So that is exactly what this institute is aiming to resolve as well, because we do know from our families, the doctors are telling them that the life expectancy is about 10 years old. There is, as Liz said, this unrelenting pressure to terminate. And there's a lot of discussions, like what you just said, about the limitations, not what is possible for our loved ones with Down syndrome. So we're absolutely going to be changing that narrative. And what we want for every parent, as Liz said, is a congratulations, not a sorry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bridie, you just celebrated a big birthday, I hear too. How old did you turn?
18.
18. Wow, that's a special milestone, isn't it? And which grade are you in at school at the moment?
I don't know.
Grade 11?
Yeah, 11.
Do you have any favourite subjects at school? What are your favourite subjects to do?
Math and science.
Oh,
you're
wow,
smarter
you're
than we
so
are.
smart.
Like
What do you like to do when you're not at school?
I love to work at office works.
Office works. I love office works.
Wow.
Yeah.
So much stationery.
Yeah.
Love a good highlighter.
Same, I love all the highlights.
Emily, no, you go ahead.
Please.
Emily, I'd just love to know about this institute and how it's going to work to improve and enhance and support the lives of people like Bridie and like little Mary.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Institute, the main aim is honestly just to ensure that our loved ones with Down syndrome live longer, happier and healthier lives. It's really that simple. Through a number of initiatives, we will start publishing an annual register of births of Down syndrome. We'll be creating a really dedicated medical community here in Australia for Down syndrome. It is an Australian first, and we're also going to work towards opening Australia's first Down syndrome medical clinic, and also starting to curate a lot of research in Australia. We just don't have that information, and upskilling health professionals so that at every life stage with gorgeous Mary and beautiful Bridie, our loved ones with Down syndrome, we're understanding the condition a lot better, because at the moment it's just bundled up in intellectual disability, but it's so much more and we need to focus on that.
Well, good on you and your leadership
Mary's
in this space.
just jumped into the world. She just
I
wants
know.
to-
In a beautiful dress made by Mummy too. You've got a clever mummy, Mary. Lucky.
Thank
lucky
you all
girl.
for being here.
Thank you. Lovely to chat to you
Lovely
all.
to see you.
All the best with the launch.
Thank you so much.